Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast, your filthy casual place for all those filthy casual takes on the world of sports. I am your host, DylanLasagna. This is episode number 163 of this icy yet spicy podcast. Today, we got a good show for you all because we're going to be talking about All In. Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be giving a review of my thoughts on All In. But wait a minute, Dylan, didn't you already review All In from All Elite Wrestling from this past Sunday? No. Not quite, ladies and gentlemen, because we're actually going to be going back to the past, grabbing that old Icebox once again for however many times we did it already. We're going to be going not too far back in the past this time and going back to 2018 to talk about the first ever All In from September 1st, 2018. On this day, we're going to be giving a retro review from the point of view of a casual fan. That is me. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready for this retrospective. I know it's not that far ago that All In took place, but yeah, it's kind of significant for what was to come and where we are now, but we'll talk about it when we get there. So anyway, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping of sorts. I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day weekend and whatever you're doing, whether it's you're out with your friends, out with your family members on a mini getaway of sorts, or maybe you're just at home doing whatever you need to do to get ready for whatever's to come after you get back from your holiday weekend. Either way, I just hope you guys are making good use of your Labor Day weekend, trying to relax, take a breather, because I certainly need one as well. So I hope to get with you guys in that camp of trying to relax a bit. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day weekend nonetheless. Maybe you could join me here on Very Cold Lasagna as well on your Labor Day weekend. So, as always, make sure you follow the show on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna. If you're listening to this on an audio network, whether it be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts that Very Cold Lasagna is available on, make sure you give a 1 to 5 star review and leave a review as well. I'd like to see your feedback on the show and hopefully, sees where I need to improve on this podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, smash the subscribe button, leave a comment with your takes on the topic that I talk about in each and every episode, and share this with your friends, share this with a stranger, share this with your family members, share this with whoever you want to share this with. It could be anybody. So yeah, just keep spreading that word of mouth about this show, and yeah, keep that fridge very open with that very cold lasagna. If you have very cold lasagna, like actual very cold lasagna in the fridge, don't eat it. I don't suggest it. You will get poisoned, and yeah, I don't want that to happen to you. You can draw one, sure, but yeah, just keep spreading the good word of mouth or whatever kind of word of mouth about Very Cold Lasagna, this show, and yeah, let's keep the gravy train rolling, shall we? So now let's talk about this show called All In. No, not AEW All In from this past Sunday in London. No, I'm talking about the first ever All In from Chicago, Illinois, where All Out this Sunday is going to be taking place, where back in 2018, AEW was not even a thing yet. So this show called All In was actually first conceived back a year prior in May 2017. You had Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter responding to this fan question on Twitter or wherever he was. He was asked by a fan, could Ring of Honor, another wrestling promotion, could they sell 10,000 tickets? And at that time, because WWE was kind of like the only major promotion at that point, Dave Meltzer said, no, not anytime soon. That was his quote. So Cody Rhodes saw this on Twitter. Cody Rhodes, he was a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor at the time. He took that as a challenge. He saw that, and he gathered up his friends, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. He conceptualized this idea of an event, which was All In. This event that they wanted to put together, and it turned into a self-funded independent wrestling event that was going to take place, well, whenever they were going to get the nitty-gritty of it. So they had over 8 months of planning to get it together. And eventually, once it was all settled, they announced that this event was going to take place on September 1st, on this date, with the name All In. And then 2 months later, after they made that announcement, they revealed the venue was going to be at the Sears Center Arena in Chicago, Illinois, where All Out is going to take place. Well, actually, it took place like for the last 2 years, for AEW, and now it's going to be in the United Center. But I digress. You get the point. It was going to be in the Sears Center in Chicago, Illinois, and yeah, in the weeks leading up to this event, you had several wrestlers and wrestling personalities announcing their participation for this event. You had like the likes of Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, Jeff Jarrett, yes, the guy who couldn't sell any butts in the seats, even with all those 10,000 guitars broken. Eric Bischoff and Rey Mysterio. And then when tickets did go on sale in May 2018, just a year after Dave Meltzer made those comments, they sold out in less than half an hour. Like, that's pretty insane. Well, it just shows that, the hardcore wrestling fans want to see this kind of event take place. And they only had like one match announced at this show. So this event was billed as the biggest independent wrestling show ever at the time. And it featured wrestlers aside from, New Japan, Ring of Honor. So there were other wrestling promotions like Impact, or like more people noticed as TNA, Total Nonstop Action. You also had the National Wrestling Alliance, or in shorter acronyms, NWA, Lucha Libre AAA, and among others. So this is, for Cody and the Bucks, this is a pretty big deal for them, and potentially a big deal for the entire wrestling scene, not named WWE. So it's gonna be a litmus test of, could Cody and the Bucks deliver on this challenge, putting on a good show, putting on something that can potentially be a stepping stone to something even greater, that's not WWE. That remains to be seen. So you get into this card. You get into this all-in card from September 1st, 2018. You had the 0 hour pre-show on WGN America. It was on TV. I just found that out. And it starts off with Cody, who was not going by the name of his full name, Cody Rhodes, because of legal rights by the WWE. So he had to go by only his first name, Cody. So Cody and the Bucks of Suck welcomed everyone to the show, pandering to the crowd, like, oh, hey, welcome to our first ever show. And the Bucks tried to blow the pyro budget, and then Road Warrior Animal made a cameo. And then some guys from Hot Topic and Pro Wrestling Tees, because, they were their sponsors. They were brought out to give out free merch via t-shirt cannons. That was pretty much your opener. So you get into the first actual match of this 0 hour pre-show, and you had SoCal Uncensored, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. Yes, SCU was still a thing at the time. I don't know why they're not a thing now, but anyway, that's besides the point. They were going up against the Briscoe brothers, Jay and Mark Briscoe. This match was fine. This was not a bad opener per se, and I kind of liked the tag team action that they were providing here. I liked some of the double team moves that they had, but there were a few spots here and there where it looked like in plain sight that they were setting themselves up for a certain spot. Like, for example, it's like like the finish, it saw the Briscoes seemingly hit a springboard doomsday device onto Kazarian, but like right before, I think it was Jay or Mark that was about to dive onto Kazarian to complete the move, Kazarian already had his arms out, and then one of the Briscoe brothers was about to jump, but Kazarian had his arms out. I'm like, come on, guys, like, make it a little bit more unpredictable than that. It's like, have the Briscoe brother jump, and then Kazarian can have his arms out to make it like even more crazier than that. So it was a little more of your back and forth kind of match. I thought it was fine for what it was. So that kicked things off for the night. Then you had this 19-person over budget battle royale. So I guess it was like your billing before casino battle royales were a thing. And this was to determine the opponent for later in the night against the Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Lethal. So some of your participants included Moose from TNA, Brandon Cutler, the Best Friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor. Wow, I'm like, wow, they were a thing for that long. Holy crap. Rocky Romero, Cheeseburger, a lot of like guys that I don't even know. But I did know the Hurricane, and dude, he looks like big. He looks jacked. Here, I think he still looked like that earlier in the year at the Royal Rumble that year. So kind of insane. Tommy Dreamer, Jimmy Jacobs, Punishment Martinez. I'm gonna talk about a little bit of him more throughout this match, and then the Guns, Austin and Billy Gunn. No Colt yet, unfortunately. Marco Stunt. Yeah, we don't remember him from early Jurassic Express days. Brian Cage, Jordan Grace. Yeah, the only female in this match, Colt Cabana, and then you had Bully Ray. The Battle Royale, you know, it was pretty much set up just how it is currently with the Casino Battle Royale in AEW. Everyone starts outside the ring, and then when the bell rings, people can make their way in when they're ready to do so. Like, you know, Bully Ray, you know, he kind of used this rule to his advantage by staying outside initially and then just pulling people out, although they weren't technically eliminated, and just attacked people randomly. So people slowly started piling their way in, and yeah, it was pretty much, you know, like your typical battle royale. It's like there's so many things that happen that it's kind of hard to keep up. But there was a few funny moments in this match, like Tommy Dreamer and Billy Gunn were gonna do like a suicide dive onto everyone, but then they stopped and realized like we're too old for this crap. Like they stopped like right then and there. It's like, nah, we need our AARP still. and then they're not gonna do a suicide dive. They were gonna like jump over the top rope. It's like you were gonna get yourselves eliminated, man. And then you had the Best Friends do their signature hug with the camera widening out. So that was kind of cool. They're still doing that, so that's interesting. But they were eliminated by Punishment Martinez soon after. And then the Hurricane chokeslammed both Martinez and Brian Cage. Was like, well, that's the Hurricane for you. And then Jimmy Jacobs, this guy in drag, like this dude in the dress, like, why? Well, it's the Indies, so that was a thing. He would do John Cena's like Super Cena comeback, and then he even did the 5-knuckle shuffle. Like, dude, you have no honor, you have no privilege to do John Cena's 5-knuckle shuffle. Like, oh, but yeah, John Cena, yeah, you can't do that, man. You, like, even in 2023, talking about an event that happened in 2018, no, you cannot do that. You have no privilege to do a signature comeback, a signature move from a guy that is much better than my guy. So, and then things got really weird. You know, you have Billy Gunn and Jimmy Jacobs tongue kissing each other. Like, oh, come on, guys. There's a reason why you're on the Indies. Like, no, we don't need this. And then at least Billy Gunn eliminated him. But dude, Jimmy Jacobs instigated this tongue kissing with Billy Gunn. Like, no. But anyway, Jordan Grace and Brian Cage went at it with some intergender action. And in the end, you know, Brian Cage cucked out to Jordan Grace because she power bombed him and then clotheslined him to eliminate. Like, Brian Cage, man, even back then, you were cucking out to people, and then here you are in 2023. Yeah, you're still cucking out to people. But thankfully, Bully Ray would eliminate Jordan Grace shortly afterwards. And then, yeah, that was because she and Colt Cabana disrespected the Dudley Boys. They did the "What's up?" To Bully Ray. Like, No, you can't. Like, you're doing what Jimmy Jacobs did moments ago with John Cena. Now, Jordan Grace and Colt Cabana are like, all these people are disrespecting the legends that came before them. Like, you don't have this privilege, my guys and gals. So Bully Ray, I thought he would win this match after eliminating Colt Cabana, but then this random green luchador guy that never got eliminated, he revived himself, I guess. He revealed himself as this dude named Flip Gordon, and he eliminated Bully Ray to get the Ring of Honor title match against Jay Lethal on the main show. So, this battle royale, it had it was okay. It was I guess it was a solid balance, considering that battle royales tend to hit or miss. But, this one was neither. It had some nice moments, but there were also moments like, Jimmy Jacobs and Billy Gunn tongue kissing each other. Yeah, that was cringe. But like I said, there had to be some balance, right? But the thing I took away from it, though, was how many names I recognized in this match, and what they ended up doing afterwards. Obviously, that name that I kept saying, Punishment Martinez, a lot of you know him now as Damian Priest. Yeah, the current Money in the Bank holder, part of the Judgment Day, former United States champion. Yeah, man. From doing this battle royale now in WWE, kind of a big jump. And then there's also guys like Billy Gunn, Tommy Dreamer, The Hurricane, Bully Ray, and then there were a couple of other people as well that ended their way up into AEW. Either they were like big players or, just doing those one-off appearances. So, there's a little bit of significance in this battle royale, but obviously the bigger one being Damian Priest going to WWE after this. So now you get to your main show. Your main show, All In, and everyone is welcomed in. There's this Ian guy along with Don Callis and then Excalibur, who wasn't the lead play-by-play guy at that point. Not quite yet. But yeah, you had this three-man booth, and then you get to your opening match. And what at least half a treat this was. You had a young Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, going up against a 20-year veteran by the name of Matt Cross. It's kind of insane. Like 5 years earlier, MJF was still working his way up in the wrestling scene, and he's opening up the first ever All In. So that's pretty wild where we are, like just exactly 5 years earlier to this date. So commentary noted that this was Matt Cross's first time competing in a sold out 10K crowd in his 20-year career. I'm not sure if I heard that right, but damn, that sounds kind of depressing, if you ask me. So MJF, man, at 22 years old at that time, man, you knew he was gonna be something. You knew he was gonna be something when he was like this big asshole already. Initially pandering to the fans, only to mock and talk shit, give them the bird constantly. But Cross would use his experience and high flying offense against MJF, and in the end, MJF, he tried for a moonsault that the commentary team pointed out that he doesn't really do. He doesn't have a lot of experience in doing, and that inexperience cost him because when he landed on his feet, because he knew something suspect was coming from Cross, he tweaked his knee on the landing. So that mistake cost him as Cross hit the springboard cutter on him, and he did a shooting star press on MJF for the win. I think the biggest takeaway from this, I thought it was a very solid opening match. I think it's just crazy to believe, though. Like I said, he's MJF opening up All In. I thought he did very solid against this Matt Cross guy. And here we are 5 years later. He main evented the second All In front of 80,000 fans in a much better storyline, and against, of all people, that I have disliked, at least from an on-screen presence. But then this story with Adam Cole, has like done wonders for both guys. So it's crazy to believe where MJF was there and where he is now. Pretty insane if you ask me. So then we get to our second matchup of the night, and we had Christopher Daniels of SCU going up against Stephen Amell. Yes, from Arrow. Y'all, if y'all remember that show. This match was based on the premise of Joey Ryan. That guy. I don't know who he is, but he was killed on the Bucks of Suck Being the Elite YouTube show, and Christopher Daniels framed Amell for the murder. So this is just Stephen Amell's third pro wrestling match at the time. The first one being, I think it was back in WWE at SummerSlam 2015 when he teamed with Cody Rhodes against Wade Barrett and no, he wasn't teaming with Cody Rhodes. He was going up against Cody Rhodes and Wade Barrett, and he was teaming with Neville, or now we know as Pac. So the special guest referee for this match was Jerry Lynn for some reason. I don't know. So throughout this match, there were a couple of spots that they tried to do, like Stephen Amell hitting a coast to coast on Christopher Daniels for a near fall mid match, but it looked like he almost missed the connection on that coast to coast. And then moments later, Christopher Daniels barely connected on a moonsault that could have like hurt his ribs on Amell for another near fall. And then Daniels tried to superplex Stephen Amell onto a table he set up earlier, but then they never announced that this was a no disqualification match for whatever reason. So why was there a nearby table? But anyway, Stephen Amell just like fell off. And I was very disappointed in this obvious setup by Christopher Daniels. He had just gotten knocked off onto the side apron and then just rolled. He just like literally just rolled onto the table himself. Like, why are you guys making these spots, like these setups, so obvious? Like, this is like house show. This is like they are in the indies, by the way, but this is just fodler shit. So it was so dumb. This was like the common theme through tonight. Like, people doing all these obvious setups, and just trying to be dumb. So anyway, Stephen Amell, he's gonna do the dive, but then Daniels rolls out of the way, and then splash. Amell went through the table, and then for whatever reason, no disqualification was called in favor of Amell, because that was technically the table that Christopher Daniels set up. But anyway, Jerry Lynn, he didn't want to call a double count out, so he brought both of them back into the ring, which pissed off Christopher Daniels, and then the two fought each other. And then after some back and forth, Daniels hit the best moonsault ever. That's his finisher to win this match. And then they shook hands for some reason. Yeah, respect. Respect, pal. We got to have that respect, even at a show called All In. But yeah, this match was not good. It was sloppy because, both of them didn't exactly connect or sell the moves that they hit on each other. I mean, like, come on. Yeah, it's an indie show, but you're broadcasting this on pay-per-view. So that's technically like a nationally broadcast pay-per-view, by the way. Whether you are in 2018 or in 2023, you gotta make these moves like look believable. And in 2018, you were technically broadcasting yourself as a nationally not nationally televised, a nationally broadcast pay-per-view. Like, come on, man. You got to make your moves impactful. It's basic wrestling shit. And, I kind of also question why they showed respect to each other afterwards when, they were beefing on being the elite. But I don't know. It's not like they were on TV, but still, man. So we had our third matchup of the night, and that was the first women's match of the night. I think it's the first and only women's match of the night. And that was Tessa Blanchard going up against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Chelsea Green, and Madison Rayne in a four-corner survival match, which was basically a fatal four-way match. Tenille Dashwood, now known as Emma, back in WWE, and Mandy Leon of Ring of Honor on commentary in this match. So, interesting note about these competitors. Britt Baker, at this point in 2018 was entering with the least experience out of all these competitors. I think she only had like very few years in the ring. You know, she's trying to climb her way up. I think she even made a few appearances down in NXT at that time. But yeah, she really didn't have a lot of experience in pro wrestling during this time period. But Madison Rayne, though, she had the most experience. I didn't even know she was like back in TNA. I didn't even know she was doing all this Ring of Honor stuff. The only time I noticed Madison Rayne was like very early 2010 when I was watching like TNA Impact with the Beautiful People. Oh man, the Beautiful People, and then Madison Rayne and Tara. Oh man, that was the days, man. And then you had Chelsea Green before there was the Karen. You had the hot mess, Chelsea Green, and like. Whoa, man. It's getting all freaky on me. And then you had the current Impact Knockouts champion at the time and the most often talked about wrestler in 2018, Tessa Blanchard, for whether it is on screen with what she was doing at that time in Impact or whatever backstage stuff she got herself into. But anyway, Tessa Blanchard was the talk of the town around the wrestling scene. So this match, you know, I thought it was fine. Everyone got their time to shine, but I think Chelsea Green, you know, I think she was the one that brought her A game, along with Tessa Blanchard. I think at one point even Chelsea Green, she gave a shout out to her husband. Was she Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, her husband at the time? But either way, she gave a shout out to Matt Cardona, giving the broski boot to Tessa Blanchard. And then she hit the unprettier or the kill switch on Madison Rayne. But then there's a sequence where she got hit with the Magnum. That's Tessa's finisher. And then she got super kicked by Britt Baker because Britt Baker, you know, at this time, you know, she was the least experienced one. So she's trying to get this win by any means possible, but to no avail. And then towards the end, you see Tessa Blanchard hitting the hammerlock DDT on Chelsea Green. And then, it wasn't Chelsea Green? Yeah, it was Chelsea Green. And then Britt Baker tries to come in to break it up. So kind of reminiscent to the All In 2023 women's title match. Britt Baker tries to break up the pin, but she was just inches short, a little bit of a timing short where the pin was, as Tessa won this match. So yeah, I kind of like the little side story of Britt's inexperience really playing a factor for much of the match. Like, she wasn't really sure at times of what to do, or like how desperate she was to get the win in this match. And then, yeah, just coming up a little bit short, breaking up Tessa's pin. And then for Chelsea and Britt Baker, you know, they would find success afterwards in the long run for the companies that they're in now. But unfortunately for Tessa Blanchard, you know, certain allegations came up during the pandemic that got her blacklisted from the wrestling industry. So, yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we got our first major championship match. Actually, I think it's our only championship match of the night. But either way, it's our first major match of this evening, and that is the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis going up against Cody, in parentheses, Rhodes. So I'm not sure why they called it Worlds, why they have an S in Worlds. Maybe, like there's multiple worlds, like it's a solar system or something. You guys let me know in the comments why they call it Worlds Heavyweight rather than just like singular, like world. I don't know, I find that pretty weird. But anyway, yeah, this match, like, I mean, I'll talk about the match in just a bit, but they were showing the promo package. And when I was watching this, because this was kind of like my first time watching the promo package for this promo, I was just like, I didn't really understand why exactly they were feuding in the first place, because, you know, they were just playing music over the whole promo package. That doesn't really tell me what this feud is about, like why Cody is challenging Nick Aldis. Like, basically what I tried to imply from it is that, oh, Cody asked for a match against Nick Aldis. That was pretty much it. You know, they at least could have had a little bit like voice clips in there from promos like that these wrestlers do during the feud, because that's what feuds, that's what promo packages do to sell feuds. Voice clips mixed in with like highlights from the feud. Now, of course, I'm not the target audience for this kind of match or this kind of show. However, I still have to criticize on this simple aspect of wrestling. Like, if you can't tell me what this is or why they're feuding, then I have every right to criticize it. Like, it's the simplest shit that you can do. Like in wrestling, you gotta sell me why this match is happening. It's why I have like a big problem with, well, whether it's this match or something from AEW. You gotta sell me on this, man. You just can't you just can't have people imply or try to guess why this match is happening, or you just can't have people Google search, man, or go to Wikipedia, man. Like, you can't make people do homework. Like, people have lives, okay? People have stuff to do. Like, don't make people do extra work, okay? So anyway, Brent Haring, whoever that is, was on commentary for this match. I think he's like someone from NWA or whatever. They also had the legendary referee, Earl Hebner, called this match. So that was kind of cool to see Mr. Hebner there. So this match, it's kind of weird when you had all this pre-match spectacle stuff with Cody and Nick Aldis. But with Cody, man, at this time in 2018, it's nothing like where Cody is now in 2023 with WWE. When Cody back in 2018, it's kind of weird, when you're supposed to have this, when you're supposed to be like the star of at least your own entrance, right? You have this like cool themes, like kind of cool theme song, and people are supposed to have the whoa thing, yet you get a mid reaction from the Chicago crowd. Yeah, I had to watch that like a couple of times. Like, was this really the reaction Cody was getting? And I know people were chanting for him later on, but it's like, dude, this reaction's so middling. It's so mid. It's like, for a hardcore wrestling crowd, like it felt like these people didn't care for Cody, like one bit. And then you had to be accompanied by the Nightmare Family, then your dog Pharaoh, and then it's funny how your wife Brandy is instead the spotlight. She's front and center, like she's just walking in front of Cody as if she is facing Nick Aldis. Like, man, this was Cody Rhodes at the time. He's like, he needed all these people to just go and help him, go and accompany him to his big matches compared to now. Like, why? Like, is this really his way of trying to build himself up as that megastar that he's trying to do now? Clearly, it seemed like it didn't work. It seemed like that didn't work. Meanwhile, you have Nick Aldis, who had by his side multiple people, but he also had by his side a former NWA champion that during his time founded a company and used that title to induce his reign of terror with another batch of 10,000 guitars that never drew a dime. And of course, that being Jeff Mother frickin' Jarrett. So anyway, this match, man, where do I even begin? It seemed like it was going to be an innocent World Heavyweight Championship match. Cody, he got aggressive early on, but, that aggressiveness, it cost him, as Nick Aldis, being calm and collective, he would take control for a good portion of this match. And then things started to spill outside, when Cody tried to rally. He would attempt this springboard move on Nick Aldis when he was outside, but Aldis elbowed him hard midair, and that initially led to Earl Hebner signaling, the X when someone is injured for a potential injury. Cody was down for a long time and barely conscious under like the timekeeper's table, but then that's when things really derailed. That's when this world's title match really derailed, because you soon start to notice how overbooked that this world's title match was really going to become. Because you had Diamond Dallas Page coming down the staging area, and then you had Daivari coming out. Yes, Daivari was accompanying Nick Aldis as well. So these two were fighting. DDP gives him the diamond cutter in the ring, and then like moments later, you had Cody suddenly bleeding. It's like when Nick Aldis brings him back to the ring, Cody's all of a sudden bleeding. Like, what? Like, Cody was down for so long that he couldn't get the one chance to like blade. Like, it's obvious that he bladed, but when he was initially down, when the cameras initially panned to him, he's like, it's like he wasn't bleeding. He didn't cut himself on the first try, so he had to go down again, and then DDP had to give him the diamond cutter to buy Cody time. So it was like so dumb. This you knew this was gonna be like an overbooked crap. So yeah, Cody cuts himself open to make it visualize that, oh, Nick Aldis elbowed him hard, but it's like you had to waste all that time to do that. It's like, oh my god, what are we doing here? So yeah, the champion, you know, he dominated most of this middle half of the match. You know, he had some offense from Cody, but Nick Aldis stopped him. But then Brandy, yeah, now she decides to interject in this match. And then Earl Hebner just decides to stand there and do nothing. So Nick Aldis is on the top rope. Brandy's like, please don't hurt my Cody. And then with no hesitation, Nick Aldis splashes onto to Cody, but he doesn't realize that Brandy is still on there protecting Cody, and then she basically sacrifices herself, and then she's out of the ring, like being a diva and all. I was like, I just got squashed by Nick Aldis. Oh man. So she basically shields Cody from the impact, and like she literally set up this spot like 5 seconds for Aldis, like who could clearly see hindsight that she's gonna shield Cody. So Aldis hits the splash, and then yeah, Brandy's out of the ring, and then now Cody starts to rally. He hits a disaster kick, and he hits a crossroads for a near fall, and now he finally seems to have some life. And yeah, Nick Aldis, you know, he tries to get a little bit more offense in, but then Nick Aldis, you know, he tries to fruit roll up Cody Rhodes, but then Cody Rhodes fruit rolls up Nick Aldis to win the NWA World Title. So there you go. Cody at that time became the new NWA World's Title, the same title that his daddy won way back in the day. And man, what a mess this match was. Like really, like I don't know what story they were trying to tell, but either way, this is not a good story. This was not a good story that they were trying to tell. I mean, the in-ring stuff was okay. I thought, you know, the back and forth control was fine, that between Cody and all this, but everything around it completely overshadowed a match that honestly could have been better. Because, you know, I gotta be honest, you know, I may look like a damn hypocrite because I overly praised the Bloodline, and I might have overpraised Adam Cole and MJF for how kind of overbooked that match was, and how overbooked Roman Reigns' title matches maybe. But this match this is an example of overbooked. One overbooked match of Cody Rhodes' indie run. Because, you know, yeah, DDP fighting with Daivari, Cody Rhodes taking his long ass time to bleed, and he made it super obvious that he was gonna blade. And then Brandy making it obvious that she's gonna take the bump for Cody. So I really did not like how this match went down. Like, it was so overbooked, and it made it so bad. But, you know, at least when Cody made the jump to AEW and then WWE, you know, at least some. I can't say all of his matches because they would become overbooked. Some of them are overbooked still. And I don't know if some of it as his doing or writing, but either way, at least his future matches weren't as overbooked as this world title match was. Like, this was just not good. This is just not good, man. So then you had a street fight, a Chicago street fight between Hangman Adam Page going up against Joey Janela. So interesting note about Adam Page at this time, he was a heel going into this match against Joey Janela. So Adam Page, you know, on being the elite, he has been having trauma since he was the killer for Joey Ryan. So yeah, he was the actual killer that did it to Joey Ryan, that Joey Ryan guy. Meanwhile, you have the bad boy, Joey Janela. You know, he debuted back on a May episode of Being the Elite, and Matt Jackson was not happy with them, and so was Adam Page. So that led to this match at All In. So, you know, this was a. I thought this was a solid street fight. You know, Adam Page hitting a burning hammer on a ladder, like a cheap ladder that was bridged onto a Cracker Barrel, sponsored by Cracker Barrel. And then you had the bad girl, Penelope Ford. Like, my God, man, even in 2018, man, she definitely was a bad girl. I'm joking. She made her presence felt, and man, Adam Page really got cucked out. At least it was a good cuck out. You know what I mean? Penelope Ford, you know, she hits moves like a Stone Cold Stunner. She flips around, and she even dove onto Adam Page. So at least Adam Page got a good deal, I guess. So she even set him up for the nearby table. She was about to dive on him, but then Joey Janela, man, he proceeds to give a very bad elbow onto him, though. Like, he literally gave himself no height. He didn't, like, jump, and then he was going to land through the table. It was, like, literally, think of the spot where Charlotte Flair tried to put Asuka through the corner table, but then only, like, a piece of it broke 3 months later at TLC 2018. That was basically this spot with Joey Janela and Adam Page. It was very bad. So then they take the fight to the staging area, and Joey Janela sets up 2 tables, but then Adam Page uses it against him. He power bombs him through one of the 2 tables off the stage. And it looked kind of rough because, you know, that staging area is like very tight. So it's like not a lot of room to work with. So Adam Page, you know, he hits his finishers, the buckshot lariat and the rite of passage. He's looking to win this match, but then Penelope breaks up the pin, and then she brought in the trash bag that I think it was Joey Janela that brought in the ring earlier, and then Adam Page, you know, he grabs the trash bag that Penelope decides that Penelope brought into the ring, and then Adam Page opens it, but then he reveals that it's the cursed cowboy boots from Being the Elite, and then Adam Page is like, shit, it's those boots, it's those damn cowboy boots, and then that allows Joey Janela to get some more offense back in. And he tries to do a ladder spot with Adam Page, but then it's like Hangman grabs him, and then he grabs a phone that was also in the garbage bag that was used to kill Joey Ryan, and he bashed Janela with it, and then he hit the rite of passage finisher off the ladder, and then through the table to win this street fight. You know, it started off slow and a little sloppy, but I thought it was a decent street fight. That kind of had a nice, weird element of story at play. And like I said, Penelope Ford looked freaking unreal. It was, oh man, not only athleticism, but, you know, if you know what I mean. But I think both of them, they made the most of what they could with the budget provided them with, like, the weapons and stuff. So yeah, I can't really complain there. I think they made for a decent street fight. But the night wasn't over yet for Adam Page, because clips of Joey Ryan's murder popped up again, but it was revealed there was more footage to that. It was revealed that Joey Ryan was actually alive because, well, his boner, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, his boner pops up. So apparently, yeah, this is apparently Joey Ryan's gimmick, everyone. He's a male sex symbol or male model or whatever it is. I don't know what Joey Ryan's like thing with dicks are, because apparently what happened next is that a bunch of white dicks came out. I'm not joking you, and not like white assholes, literally white actual dicks. I don't even know what Excalibur tried to call them, but this is just weird. This was just so. I'm just glad that they don't do this on national television, because this is just weird. And I guess, is this where the meme came? Is this where the memes come from with like the white dicks and stuff? Like, is this where they do all these memes from 2018? Is this where it's from? Because I don't know. But anyway, out came Joey Ryan, fresh and alive, and he came down ready to fuck. He was ready to fuck Adam Page. Like, you know, that kind of fuck. Like, we were watching something on, you know. Oh, no. Like, come on, we already had enough of that stuff earlier in the night with the Battle Royale. Now we're going to get that stuff, that fucking. Come on, we had enough of that, man. It's like, we don't need more of that, especially on national broadcast pay-per-view. It's like, no. But anyway, he poured oil on his legs, his chest, his wing wang. Like, I don't want to see this. And then the fucking proceeded as Joey Ryan made Adam Page grab his very hard wing wang before super kicking his lights out, and then he got carried away by the white inflatable dicks. So, I don't know, man. This stuff, this is weird. And it also makes me feel a little embarrassed to be a wrestling fan, because this is just like, come on. This is not cool. Like, if you're into this stuff, cool, you're entitled to it. But this is not what makes wrestling cool. It makes it a joke. I mean, if this was DX doing this, they'd be showing hot chicks and stuff. And this, like, all the dicks to dudes to dudes. I mean, I'm not disrespecting the gays and stuff, but come on. This is part of the reason why wrestling is doesn't get accepted as well as it did in the past. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Yes, it's from 2018, but like, this is not cool. This is not cool, man. This is just very cringe. This is like this is kind of embarrassing to watch. And you know what? I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to be talking about that anymore. Moving on to the next match. The Ring of Honor World Champion, Jay Lethal, going up against Flip Gordon. As I discussed early on in this episode, Flip Gordon won an over the budget battle royale to get this match with Jay Lethal. But then I was wondering, why is Brandy Rhodes already back out there? And why is she associated with Flip Gordon in military attire? Like, maybe someone could fill me in on this match. What's her association with Flip Gordon? I don't know. But then this was kind of a cool moment. You know, Jay Lethal came out to Macho Man Randy Savage's music and attire. And then there's reason for that. They at least gave a reason for that. You know, Lenny Pofofo, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, but Macho Man's brother, Lanny, who unfortunately has passed away 5 years later, rest in peace. He gave him his endorsement to do so. So that's a cool moment there. So they did the Code of Honor handshake as per tradition with the Ring of Honor rules. But they did it in the style of the Mega Powers with Flip Gordon. So that was kind of cool, I guess. And then it was kind of funny, you know, Jay Lethal kind of ditched that honor by dragging away Brandy Rhodes like a couple of times. And then he even paraded her around like Miss Elizabeth. And then how did she respond? She slapped his shoulder rather than slapping his face. Like, okay, that was kind of weird, but of all places, the shoulder? All right. So anyway, Lanny, like later on in the match, you know, Lanny would hit Jay back in the shoulder. But then, yeah, there's a reason why. Now I knew there was a reason why they kept hitting him in the shoulder. is so they can wake up his Macho Man side. So Jay Lethal hit 3 straight Macho Man elbow drops. But then in a distaste to the Mega Powers and Hulk Hogan specifically, Flip Gordon kicked out. He even did the Hulk up, come back, brother. He's like, that's not going to work for me, brother. To a sequence that led to a springboard corkscrew for a near fall. Again, with these indie guys disrespecting the legends like this. Not cool. So Jay Lethal would eventually hit the lethal injection to retain his Ring of Honor world title. And then afterwards, they would shake hands, embrace, but then they were quickly attacked by Bully Ray, who even dick kicked Lanny. Like, man, he really did not like his nuts, huh? Bully Ray would grab a table, but out came Colt Cabana to Spirit's lights out. And with Lethal and Gordon fully recovered, they would hit a Walmart version of the Shield's triple powerbomb on Bully Ray through the table. So, this match, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I didn't really care for it all that much. But, I mean, I did find the antics with Brandy and Jay Lethal kind of funny. But, yeah, everything else around it was pretty boring. I mean, I was not interested in all the work rate, all the dives and moves that Flip Gordon was doing. And, they just kind of kept dragging it on. And then they were also mocking, like, especially Flip Gordon. He was mocking, like, Hulk Hogan. That was not cool. So this match was full of pandering. And aside from the Brandy stuff and, Jay Lethal, at least with Jay Lethal, it made a little bit of sense that he did do the Macho Man and stuff. Yeah, I did not like this match. So our next matchup, we have Kenny Omega going up against Penta El Zero Miedo. So this was a first time matchup between the two. And yeah, even though they met each other in a 6-man tag in Battle of Los Angeles, the New Japan event back in 2017, this was their first one-on-one matchup. So yeah, this is your typical, like, let's try to get all these spots in. Let's try to make this as fast as possible. That kind of match. So Penta, he brought the heat early. He got slapped by Omega. And honestly, Penta, he was kind of in control for a good portion of this match. But Omega, he managed to take control with some of his own signature offense. And the two would pretty much trade the momentum from there, hitting each other with their best moves. But then Omega was frequently using the V trigger all too much. And by that point, there are about a dozen near falls in this match, which I absolutely do not like. Like, so many near falls. Like, just get to the finish already. So Penta would hit the Fear Factor pile driver on the ring apron before bringing back Omega to the ring for the double stomp, the coup de grace for a near fall. And then they pretty much trading, like, the Fear Factor. And then Kenny Omega would hit another V trigger. And then he tried to go for the one-winged angel, which they pointed out that at that point, no one's kicked out of. But Penta got out of it again. He had another near Fear Factor. And yeah, I was getting really annoyed by the amount of false finishes that were happening at it. It was so fast. Like, I was like, just get on with it. Just get to the finish already. So yeah, 2 more V triggers from Kenny Omega and a Poison Rana, like a reverse Hurricanrana. And then Kenny Omega finally wins this annoying match with the one-winged angel. So yeah, this is basically the epitome of why I don't like this work rate spot fest style of wrestling. It's just like so many near falls, so many flips, so many dives, so many kicks. It's like there's barely any selling. And then there's so many obvious setup spots. It's like going way too fast. You gotta slow the fuck down. And there's a reason why these guys get injured so often. It's because they don't sell. They just like to hit. Like, do I want things like to be like SummerSlam 1988 or like back in the golden era? Like, no, not necessarily, because we can't obviously go back to those times for reasons. But at least have some balance, which was what Kenny Omega and Penta were doing the opposite of back in 2018 and still are doing now. So as stated, this is not for me, but I have reservations. I still have to give my piece on this match because I have a right to do so. So after the match, you have the lights go out for the second time in the night, and Chris Jericho, after they did this like CM Punk, Jeff Hardy kind of thing with the ending for SummerSlam 09, where Jeff Hardy was replaced with The Undertaker. Chris Jericho disguised himself as Penta. He replaced Penta in the ring, and then he attacked Kenny Omega, and then he hit him with 2 Code Breakers, and then he challenged him to a match on his Rockin' Wrestling Rager at Sea Cruise. So that match would eventually happen, I guess. So then our second to last matchup of the night, we had the Rainmaker, Kasuchika Okada. Yeah, everyone's favorite Japanese wrestler going up against the villain, whoever that was, Marty Scurll. The build up towards this match was basically, everyone's doubting Marty Scurll. So in preparation for this match, Scurll asked for the help of Nick Aldis to train him to become a heavyweight, even though technically I forgot to mention this. Half of these people entering their matches tonight were like representing the elite, representing the Bullet Club at so and so. And I don't think Nick Aldis was representing Bullet Club, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it even mattered by that point. So anyway, your referee for this match was IGWP, whatever that stands for, veteran Tiger Hattori. Yeah, must be a legendary referee in Japan, I guess. So, yeah, prior to the match, Scurll broke the fingers of 2 executives backstage because, well, they were like everyone else. They didn't believe that he was a heavyweight and couldn't beat Okada. So basically, it was just like Kenny Omega and the Penta match earlier. It was just basically the two trading the advantage and trying to get as many near falls as possible. And yeah, earlier in the match, Okada, accidentally ran into the referee Hattori. And that allowed Scurll to use the umbrella he brought into the ring as a weapon, and then he would use Okada's Rainmaker finisher, which is basically like Jamie Hayter's finisher, the pull-in clothesline against him for a near fall. And then Scurll was trying his damnedest to try to win this match by any means, but then Scurll would spit in his face in his last desperate attempt. Like, this is where the finish comes in. They get into a slap fight, and then leads to Okada hitting 2 straight Rainmakers to win the match. But man, this was like an indie work rate showcase. I mean, they are in the indies, by the way, but still, that doesn't mean I like it, because it was so unnecessary. Like, this was unnecessarily long. This was unnecessarily boring. Like, we get it. Scurll, he's trying to like lift Okada. He's trying to like hit him with his best shot, but it's like they're just dragging it for so long. It's like they couldn't come up with any more shit until like the end. So all they could come up with is that, let's try to have as many near falls as possible. Let's try to hit these moves until the crowd stops popping. And that's exactly what this match was. And I don't know. It was just, that's pretty much like how it was. It's the whole card from, I think, the point of MJF, and I'd say the Battle Royale, I guess. And it's just starting to go down for me. So then we had the main event. We had the Golden Elite. Oh, get your golden whatever, the golden sticks out, guys. Oh, because it's Kota Ibushi and the Bucks of Suck, Matt and Nick Jackson. They're going up against Bandito, Rey Fenix, and my all-time favorite wrestler, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, this was your main event. Not a lot of build-up towards this match, but it is what it is. Like, a lot, like, pretty much for an indie show, yeah, they don't really build up this stuff. And anyway, on pay-per-view, your main event for this biggest indie wrestling show ever, Rey Mysterio, he comes out in his pretty cool last gear as the Wolverine. So I really like that. That was pretty cool. Meanwhile, you had the Golden Elite, who looked like they were about to have a golden shower with each other in the locker room once this event was over. Like, literally, they all looked like they were going to be hand in hand, ready to go out there, get a W, and then afterwards, let's get the shower running. Like, oh yeah. It's like, goddamn, guys, stop making it so obvious. So this match was pretty fast paced. So much going on. Everyone was chanting "Holy shit" for some reason when Rey Mysterio and Kota Ibushi, my beautiful Ibushi, my Bush, they were in the ring together for the first time ever. When everyone knew deep down that Rey Mysterio is infinitely times more legendary, infinitely more well known than Kota Ibushi will ever be to casual fans. So I don't know what crack they're smoking. So anyway, like I said, there's so much happening for a match that was, I guess they were trying to fit in as much as possible because, I guess they were running out of time. Yes, on pay-per-view. I don't know how you could run out of time on pay-per-view. So that was kind of weird. So since there was so much happening, I'll give you a Cliff Notes version of it. Mac Jackson was running all the way on the stage. He flew onto everyone. Bandito hit a Hurricanrana on the entire Golden Elite. Yes, single-handedly. Rey Mysterio hit a 619 on Matt Jackson, and then Rey Fenix did a Canadian Destroyer on him, and then a Poison Rana by Bandito for the near fall. But then, of course, the Bucks of Suck, they just had again their super kick orgy because that's what they were well known for at the time and are still well known for now. Their super kick party orgy, followed by their flips of sex on Bandito, and then they followed it up with the Meltzer driver on him to get the victory. So yeah, they were definitely rushing through this main event. It was only like 11 minutes long because yeah, they're running out of time. I don't know how they could run out of time on pay-per-view, but yeah, they were. So it was also evident that they were running out of time because the commentators were just like, after the bell rang, it's like, thank you everyone for joining us for this historic night at All In and good night. And then it just cut to the ending logo. It's like, what? Okay. Thank you as well. So yeah, this match was your typical Bucks of Suck indie spot fest orgy filled with flips, kicks, and all that other bullshit. Like this again, this is no disrespect to Rey Mysterio, but I'm just sad that he got involved in this. And yeah, this bullshit makes you question your sanity as a wrestling fan. Sure, the hardcore fans are just like, we'll buy into it, but if you're a casual or like a middle line wrestling fan, it's like, why? Why am I watching this? But if you like that kind of stuff, that's fine. It's just not my alleyway because they overdo it way too much with very little to no payoff. And they increase the risk of injury, which is like pretty high. They often get injured. So yeah, the Bucks of Suck wrap up the night and All In 2018 with a very quick W. So overall, since this was my first time watching the first All In, I'd say there were a few good matches in there, and I don't think this is the worst show ever. I don't think it's one of the worst I ever seen. I thought it was decent. I thought it was a decent show for as much as I ragged on the last set of matches. But I just think it's a bit overrated. Like a lot of people were praising the hell out of this show, out of All In. But a lot of it came from hardcore wrestling fans that were just done with WWE. They were done with the casual aspect of wrestling. They wanted to see something more into the tune of their style of wrestling. It's like that's not gonna be what sells. And apparently what sold to them was like pretty much what this show was. Like half of these matches were basically your typical indie style matches filled with too many false finishes, too many flips, kicks, no selling, obvious spot setups, and other bullshit that just drives away the casual wrestling fan or someone trying to get into wrestling. It's pretty much that, and this is pretty much infected the wrestling landscape today. And this is not even like long ago. It was already infecting the wrestling landscape that we know today. So this just made it more well known. This just made it more well known. So, and again, I have to say it for the millionth time. That's just my opinion. I'm not totally against the flips and kicks and all that other bullshit. I mean, I'm totally against the no selling. I'm totally against the obvious spot setups, especially the one where, oh, let's get together in a big circle jerk and make it super obvious. And then let's have this one guy dive onto everybody. And then it's like, oh, yay, he's in our big orgy now. I don't like that kind of stuff. I prefer there to be a healthy balance. You got to have a story. You got to have a character. And then you can have all your bullshit in there. Your indie bullshit in there. And with the story and characters, you got to have it explicit. That's just me. So you got to have that healthy balance. And all in 2018, a few matches had that. Let's say like 2 or 3 of them did. But everything else is like, nope. We just got to get our bullshit spread across there. We got to infect it to all these casual fans, that whatever casual fans were watching this back in the day. So, and then what also didn't help was at least 1 or 2 matches were completely overbooked, like to oblivion. Most notably that world's title match with Cody and Nick Aldis. Like come on. So I was harsh on the back half of this card, but you know, I still think it was not a terrible show. I thought but it's most certainly not worthy of the praise that this show got back in 2018. I thought it was okay. I thought it was kind of decent. From someone that's a filthy casual fan that not really into the indie style of wrestling. You know, I thought it was okay. I thought it was not too bad per se. But I will say this, with All In 2018, you know, I'm not gonna understate the importance of it though, because I do think the significance of this event is very important. If those sentences even mean a damn thing, because you know, without the risk that Cody and the Bucks were willing to take in planning this event, developing it all together, making sure that they get a venue, a date, and assuring that these wrestlers could participate in it from all these different promotions, a certain company wouldn't exist right now. Of course, that company being All Elite Wrestling. Just 4 months later, Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, alongside Kenny Omega and Adam Page as EVPs, they went on to form this thing with, you know, Jacksonville Jaguars. What's Tony Khan's position? Like vice president? Is he a vice president or like half CEO with his dad or something? But anyway, I digress. Tony Khan. 4 months later, Tony Khan would become the CEO of AEW. Eventually, they founded it on New Year's Day, 2019. And then they would get these guys like Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, and other big names throughout the wrestling landscape. That's not just WWE. So for us, very critical I am of AEW throughout the 3 years that I've been on Very Cold Lasagna. You know, several of these wrestlers that are on there now, you know, they wouldn't have the platform to showcase who they are. And even if AEW didn't exist, they wouldn't have had a successful like run in WWE. Let's be honest here, because you have guys like MJF and like The Acclaim, 2 of my personal favorites in AEW. Like they wouldn't be able to do the stuff that they're doing now in AEW. Like let's be real here. Like they wouldn't be able to pull all this non-PG bullshit in WWE. Let's just be real there. So I'm part of me is glad that AEW does exist, because there are certain wrestlers that I do like over there, but at the same time, it's just like it's basically evolved into a nationally televised indie fed. But again, I'm like I said, part of me is glad that they just exist in the first place, because you know it doesn't change the fact that I can appreciate Cody and the Bucks taking issue with a Dave Meltzer tweet and rising up to the occasion to create a very successful event for them called All In, which became the first sold out non-WWE or WCW pay-per-view event since 1993. So overall, All In my opinion, is a decent show. I know a lot of people will say, oh no, you're wrong. It's a very great show. It's one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. You're just a hater. you're just a WWE fanboy. Wrong. I'm a realist. I'm a casual wrestling fan for a reason, you know. But yeah, like I said, it's what happened afterwards. It's what this is why this show is so important. Not for the show itself. It's for the groundwork for what was to happen afterwards, even for a casual fan. So without AEW, without All In, there is no All Elite Wrestling. There is no wrestlers like MJF, Britt Baker, Max Caster, and Anthony Bowens, Kenny Omega. All these like promising stars would probably be stuck in the Indies, probably stuck in New Japan, Ring of Honor, even TNA. Like they wouldn't have the national television spotlight that WWE probably wouldn't give them. So also, you might not even see CM Punk ever make his return to wrestling if AEW didn't exist, or Cody Rhodes having as big of a return to WWE. I mean, that's kind of a hot take, but that's just my opinion. Because yeah, without AEW, it's like, yeah, it kind of a lot of these wrestlers wouldn't have a national platform, and yeah, there wouldn't also have been a second All In at Wembley Stadium, mind you. Which, however way you feel about AEW, is an accomplishment in of itself for the company. Like 81,000 fans. I mean, even though it doesn't really look like 81,000 fans in my opinion, with all those tarps there and all the empty seats. But I digress. You know, for them to get that many fans in, whether it's 50,000, 60,000, 70, 80, whatever, you know, they managed to do something. They managed to make something out of that Wembley show on this past Sunday. So overall, you know, All In 2018, the very first one, 5 years later, you know, it has a lot of lasting impact, not for the show itself, but for what was to come in its All Elite future. So I'd like to know what you guys think about the first All In 2018. Did you guys happen to watch it back then? Did you guys watch it for the first time? If you were just randomly just thought of, hey, I want to go watch this pay-per-view called All In, not the one that happened this past Sunday in London, the first one made by Cody and the Bucks, or you didn't happen to catch it at all, or you just happened to watch it on YouTube or something. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below on YouTube, or send me a DM on Twitter, Instagram at DylanLasagna. Let's start up a discussion on this pay-per-view back in 2018, the first ever All In, which led to the formation of All Elite Wrestling. But anyway, that is it for this episode of Very Cold Lasagna. I am your filthy casual host, DylanLasagna, once again closing up the Old Icebox with another retro review in the books. So let me know your thoughts on this classic pay-per-view re-reviewed, and yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts. Anyway, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.